Hi, I just thought that for my second video on my journey in sudden hearing loss, which is day 12 of my sudden hearing loss, my overnight change, where I went completely deaf in my right ear. I thought today I'd talk about the treatment and the tests that they did when I first went to the doctor. So the very start of things when I got medical attention. I mean, I mentioned it a bit in my first video, but I thought I'd go into details today. So I went to the doctors on the very same day that I woke up, being deaf in one ear, having severe vertigo, and tinnitus, which at the time was ringing. That settled down to loud white noise now, but at the time it was kind of ringing. So I went to my family doctor was on holiday, so I went to another doctor, another local doctor. And what she did was she looked down my ear with one of those handheld things, don't know what they're called, and just said there was nothing in my ear, no wax, nothing. And then just gave me the anti-nausea tablets. And as I said in my first video, it was a few days later when nothing had changed at all, and that I was concerned, that I started Googling it all and found that really I needed to be seen by an ear, nose and throat specialist ASAP. And that's when I thought there was no point going back to that doctor. So we made the private appointment with an ear, nose and throat specialist. And so I went to see him, and it was about 7 p.m. in the evening. And he was really good. What he did is he looked down my ear with sort of proper machinery, with a camera. He looked down both ears and he showed me, on the little screen what my ears looked like, and they both looked exactly the same, and they were both healthy. There was no inflammation, no redness, no wax, very clean, very normal. And then he asked me to go to his nurse sort of next door to have a hearing test. So that I went and sat in this soundproof booth with headphones on, and she was outside sort of pressing buttons.
So Claire wanted me to explain what the sound hearing test that she had done was.
Because I hadn't got a clue.
Because she really hadn't got a clue what it was that they did, but partly because she couldn't hear what was going on. So they put her in a soundproof booth and with headphones on, over-ear headphones. And the tester outside, because I was standing outside watching, was basically stepping through different frequencies, starting at low frequency and going up through higher frequencies. And for each frequency, she made the sound start quite quietly and then get louder and louder and louder until Claire tapped on the window to say that she could hear it. So she started at 400 hertz, and she started with the bad ear, which maybe was a mistake. She should have started with the good ear so that Claire knew what she was expecting, but she started with the bad ear, and it was getting louder and louder, and eventually 80 dBs was really when her hearing kind of cut in, which is pretty loud. You know, it's not ridiculously loud, but it's quite loud. And then once Claire had marked that she'd heard it, she moved up to a higher frequency. So she went through 1 kilohertz, 2 kilohertz, 3, 4, 5, out to about 8. So the range of spoken voice, basically. And Claire's hearing was curved a little bit, but all around that 80 dBs kind of mark on the bad ear. And then she repeated it on the good ear, and she could hear it. It was the same kind of shape, but it was up in the kind of 10 dB to 20 dB kind of mark, which is perfectly fine. It's what you would call normal. In fact, you could see there was a mark which said this is kind of normal hearing, and on the bad ear it was right down below that, terrible, and on the good ear was within the boundaries of normal hearing. So it was interesting to watch, but yeah, the difference between the two ears was big. So
and it was the same when it was repeated.
And the repeat, yeah, I didn't see it closely when they did it the next day, but it was the same shape and it was around the same kind of hearing loss level. And then looking on the scale, it said that is in the kind of severe, not profound hearing loss, but the severe hearing.
Is the worst,
yeah.
And severe is the next.
So interesting, not good, obviously, but anyway, so it confirmed what Claire was saying anyway.
When I gave him, I had to go back through with these results to him. He made a face like, oh, not good. And then he just said that he wanted to be frank and honest with me. And yeah, he's explained that it was an emergency, that I needed to go to A&E. So I went the next morning, and yeah, he was quite frank with me. I said about this in my first video about how that I needed steroids straight away, but there was no guarantee that they would do anything. That in most cases there isn't a known cause. But I need. He also recommended an MRI to rule out an auditory nerve tumor or a mini stroke. But anyway, he said he was really good, and he said go to A&E the next morning. So I'm in Spain, so I went to Urgencias, which I can access through the state health. There, I was assessed by the normal doctor, kind of on call, who did a few sort of balance things with me. He got me sort of standing up and putting my arms out sort of in front of me and closing my eyes and seeing if my arms moved, and he got me to follow his finger with my eyes and without moving my head, and that didn't really say anything about it, and then just told the nurse to give me a steroid shot in my bum, which wasn't really in my bum, it was on a bony part of my hip, and that wasn't pleasant, but there you go. And then I got moved through to the ear, nose and throat specialist. I had to wait a while because obviously she was fitting me in around the appointments that she already had. I was in a sort of urgent case. And she looked at what I'd got paperwork from the ear, nose and throat specialist, the private one. She kind of looked at that and was a bit puzzled about me having gone private for that. But she then repeated a normal hearing test, which she didn't share the results with me at all, didn't really say anything about them. But Tim had seen that they were the same as the one I'd had the previous night. But then she did a different one. So I was in a soundproof booth again. And this time I had two sets of headphones, the bone conducting headphones on and another set of headphones over the top, so that she could play background sort of white noise and see what that was like. And as far as I know, the results were the same, but she didn't share them with me. And then all she really did was give me medication, which is steroids, which is what is recommended. You're supposed to start high dose steroids with the tapering off, a 2-week course of steroids to give you any chance of getting your hearing back. Now, I've had a look at journal articles and that, and a lot of the journal articles say that it's worth doing because it has worked in some cases, but there's not a huge correlation between the steroids and hearing recovery, but it's worth doing. So I'm just going to show you what she actually gave me. So I've got prednisona here. I need my notes. Prednisona, that is corticosteroids, high dose steroids. And the idea of this is that they help reduce inflammation and swelling in the inner ear, and increase blood flow as well. So the idea is to try and sort of promote healing in the ear. So I've got 2 weeks worth of prednisona. Then the rest of my medication is really for the vertigo that I'm feeling. So I've got, this is called pentoxifylline in Spanish, or pentoxifylline, which is supposed to improve blood flow. That's really hard to say, through the blood vessels by decreasing the thickness or viscosity of the blood. So that, coupled with the steroids, is supposed to improve your chances of hearing recovery. So I'm taking one of those, no, twice a day of those. Steroids once a day at breakfast, and the rest of them twice a day. Circ, can't remember what this one is. Oh yeah, this is a beta histine used to treat dizziness, vertigo, and tinnitus, Meniere's disease. Again, it works by improving blood flow in the inner ear, which lowers any pressure that there is. And then I'm on Dizzy-Now, which is cinnarizine, That's like an antihistamine, and it's used to treat things like travel sickness, vertigo, tinnitus, labyrinthine diseases. So yeah, so the stuff I've got really, that is for the, the main, those three are for like the vertigo that I'm suffering, and then the steroids, prednisone, that's for the hearing loss. But I'm on day 5 of treatment, and nothing's changed yet. I'm getting better able to manage it. The tinnitus I'm getting used to, and I am using an app on my phone, which I'll do another video on, but to kind of try and have white noise in my left ear as well, so that it kind of balances it out. And I'm getting used to the vertigo. I'm getting used to how, yeah, I can't quickly move my head. Otherwise it kind of sets it off. I'm getting used to balancing more, and I have printed out some exercises from some websites of balance kind of exercises to try and help with that. So that's my experience so far. I'm supposed to have an appointment sent through to go and have another hearing test when I finish the steroids course. So we'll see what happens then.
So what are your symptoms now?
What are my symptoms now? Absolutely no hearing whatsoever in my right ear. I mean, when you put your finger in your ear and it's so loud, you get a whooshing noise in your ear. Well, that happens in my left ear, and I can't even tell my fingers in my ear apart from feeling it. Like there's absolutely nothing at all, but loads of white noise, like a TV that's not transmitting. That is present all the time and is really loud. And that's really affecting. I burst into tears in the kitchen on you, Tim, who's filming this. When he was cooking the other day, there was a microwave going, there was a kettle going, and Tim was trying to say something to me as well, and it was just so overwhelming because it feels really weird that you've lost half of your hearing, you've lost an ear, but everything's so loud. That is crazy. You think that the world should go quiet, but it doesn't. Everything goes really loud, and you're quite sensitive to it. So that's the only time I've got really upset, I think, about it. And the balance, I'm unsteady on my feet, especially when I'm tired and getting up out of bed in the morning. But by the end of the day, I'm really tired and I start to feel nauseous and very unsteady on my feet. So the vertigo and the balance are the things that I'd like to get rid of, but I'm not sure whether they're going to be permanent. But you learn to live with them. You learn to sort of deal with them. I don't know, but we'll have to see that. But the medication doesn't seem to be helping with that yet. I just think I'm more able to manage it. So that's where I am at the moment, day 12 of my journey into sudden hearing loss. But I'm upbeat. I mean, I don't want you to think that I'm depressed or anything. And I also don't want you to think that I'm being defeatist. I know some people might think that I'm being pessimistic, thinking that this might be my new normal. But I'm not being defeatist. I think because I'm the queen of research, research is what I do, for a living. I'm just, yeah, my research has shown that this probably will be permanent. So I've got to, I think, kind of embrace the new norm and tackle it head on, and not shy away from it and not let it get me down. So that's how I am at the moment. So I hope this is helpful for anyone else that's going through this. And this is just an easy way of telling all my friends and family as well what I'm going through at the moment. Oh, and I have got an MRI booked for Monday. It's Saturday at the moment. I've got an MRI booked for Monday just to rule out, an auditory nerve tumour or, a mini stroke. So I will let you know about that too. Oh, everything's blowing away now. Thank you for listening. I'll see you soon.